Unlock a mindset so powerful, it changes your life. What if the constant stress of modern life, that low-grade hum of anxiety you feel all the time, isn't something you just have to put up with? We're always told to hustle harder, optimize everything, be more, and want more. But for so many of us, it just leads to feeling empty, overwhelmed, and powerless. What if the secret to real strength and a deep, unshakable sense of peace isn't about changing the world around you, but about rewiring the mind that sees it? I've tried the apps, the quick fixes, the productivity hacks, and nothing ever stuck. So, I'm turning to a 20-year-old philosophy for answers. My mission is to find out if the ancient wisdom of Stoicism can actually help us conquer our biggest modern problems. This isn't just a lecture, it's an experiment, and I want to take you with me. When you hear the word Stoic, you probably picture someone cold and emotionless, somebody who just accepts their fate with a grim look. But that's a complete misunderstanding. Real Stoicism, the kind practiced by emperors like Marcus Aurelius and former slaves like Epictetus, isn't about becoming a robot. Think of it as a practical training manual for your mind, designed to help you live a life of meaning, courage, and purpose. It's not about suppressing your emotions, but understanding and mastering them. It's like a powerful operating system for thriving in a chaotic and uncertain world. The Stoics were masters of a kind of mental and emotional resilience that seems almost superhuman today. But they insisted that anyone could learn it. So, I decided to put that to the test. I'm diving into their teachings, applying their ancient principles to my very modern problems, to see if I can unlock a mindset that's powerful enough to genuinely change a life. The cornerstone principle: what you can and can't control. The journey into Stoicism starts with one foundational idea that changes everything: the dichotomy of control. The philosopher Epictetus put it simply: some things are up to us, and some things are not. It sounds almost too simple, right? But actually, living by this is revolutionary. The things that are up to us are our judgments, our choices, our actions, the effort we put in. That's it. That's the whole list. Everything else is outside of our direct control. This includes what other people think of us, our reputation, the economy, the traffic, and even the final outcome of our best efforts. So much of our anxiety comes from one tragic mistake. We pour our precious energy into trying to control things that are fundamentally uncontrollable. We worry endlessly about opinions and outcomes that we have no real power over. That's the root of our frustration, our anger, and our fear. My first real test was to apply this filter to my daily life. I work in a field where perception feels like everything. The pressure to manage my reputation, get likes on a post, or win over my bosses was a constant source of stress. It was draining. So, I started my experiment right there. When I'd prepare a presentation for work, my old brain would obsess over the outcome. Will they like it? Will this get me that promotion? What if they think my idea is dumb? My focus was entirely on the external, on things I couldn't control. Applying the dichotomy of control meant I had to consciously shift that focus. I started telling myself, I can't control my boss's final opinion, but I can control the quality of my research and how clearly I present it. I can't control if a colleague is having a bad day and dismisses my work, but I can control my own integrity and the effort I put in. This wasn't about not caring. It was about being precise with my energy, and the change was immediate. The anxiety didn't just fade, it started to feel irrelevant. By letting go of that desperate need to control the uncontrollable, I felt incredibly liberated. I could pour all that wasted energy into the work itself. And funnily enough, my work got better, and people responded more positively. But by then, their approval felt like a nice bonus, not the goal. This one principle started to untangle years of anxiety I'd just accepted as a part of life. Reframing. Reality. IS. How to use obstacles as fuel. Once I started getting a handle on what I could and couldn't control, the next question was obvious. What do I do when the uncontrollable stuff goes wrong? What happens when I face a major setback? This is where the second powerful Stoic idea comes in. The obstacle is the way. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote it best. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. For a Stoic, a problem isn't just something to be tolerated, it's raw material. Every obstacle, every setback, every frustration is a chance to practice a virtue. That difficult co-worker isn't just annoying, they're a training partner for your patience. A project that fails isn't just a loss, it's a masterclass in resilience. Criticism isn't just an attack, it's an opportunity to practice fortitude. This is a radical reframing of your reality. It pulls you out of the role of a passive victim and makes you an active participant in your own growth. The question is no longer, why is this happening to me? But, how can I use this? I got a painful opportunity to test this a few weeks in. A project I'd been leading for months, one I had poured my heart into, was suddenly cancelled because of budget cuts, totally out of my control. The old me would have spiraled. I would have felt the sting of failure, the anger, the despair, and for a moment, I did. The old wiring is strong, but then I forced myself to ask the Stoic question, how can I use this? The answer wasn't just one thing. I realized I needed the courage to face my team and deliver the bad news with honesty. I needed the wisdom to figure out what we could learn from the process, even though the project was dead. And I needed the resilience to not let this setback define my self-worth. That single obstacle became a training ground for courage, wisdom, and resilience. It still hurt, but the pain now had a purpose. It wasn't meaningless suffering, it was forging a stronger character. This mindset turns life from a series of events that happen to you into a curriculum designed for you. If this idea of turning obstacles into fuel is resonating with you, take a second to hit that like button. It tells YouTube that this is a message worth spreading. And if you're on your own journey of growth, consider subscribing to join this community. We're all just modern students of this ancient wisdom, and we're in this together. The antidote to deeper anxieties, Memento Mori, negative visualization. So we've talked about control and obstacles, but what about the deeper fears? The fear of loss, the fear of death, that nagging feeling that we aren't appreciating our lives. Stoicism has two powerful and often misunderstood tools for this: Memento Mori and negative visualization. Memento Mori is Latin for remember you must die. Now, this isn't supposed to be morbid, just the opposite. The Stoics believed that a gentle awareness of our mortality is the key to living a vibrant, meaningful life. It's the fact that life is finite that gives it urgency and beauty. When we remember our time is limited, we're far less likely to waste it on petty arguments or chasing things that don't truly matter. Negative visualization is how you practice this. It's the simple act of briefly imagining you've lost the things you value. You might take a moment to imagine your life without your job, your home, or even a loved one. The point isn't to make yourself miserable. The point is to return to the present with a profound, renewed sense of gratitude for everything you do have. It inoculates you against the fear of loss by rehearsing it in a controlled way. I decided to make this part of my morning routine. Honestly, it felt weird at first. We're taught to think positive, and this felt like the opposite. Each morning with my coffee, I'd spend just 1 minute on it. I'd think about my partner and imagine for a second that we'd never met. I'd think about my ability to walk and see, and imagine it was gone. Then I'd open my eyes, and the shift in my perspective was immediate. The familiar background of my life was suddenly in high definition. My partner making breakfast wasn't just a routine, it was a miracle to be cherished. Going for a run wasn't a chore, it was a gift. It forces you to ask, if I lost this tomorrow, how would I treasure it today? This question dissolves procrastination and clarifies your priorities. It rewired my brain for gratitude and taught me how to cherish the now, building a deep resilience against the inevitable losses life will one day bring. Building an unshakable core. Voluntary discomfort. The Stoic mindset isn't just built on reflection, it's forged in practice. The final principle I worked in is the most hands-on: voluntary discomfort. The philosopher Seneca argued that we should periodically rehearse poverty and live with less, not because hardship is good, but because the fear of it can be crippling. By intentionally exposing ourselves to minor discomforts, we train our minds to stay calm when faced with real stress. This is about widening your comfort zone by choice, so when life pushes you out of it, you're already familiar with the feeling. The practices are simple. Take a cold shower, sleep on the floor for a night, or deliberately leave your phone at home on a long walk. This isn't self-punishment, it's resilience training. You are teaching your brain a critical lesson. I can handle this. I am stronger than my need for constant comfort. I started with the most famous one, the cold shower. The first time I turned that knob to cold, my body screamed. My mind raced for an excuse to turn it back. But I made a commitment. I forced myself to breathe and just stand there for 30 seconds. And then a strange thing happened. I adapted. The panic subsided. I had survived. The real benefit wasn't what happened in the shower, it was what happened later. When a stressful email landed in my inbox, my reaction was different. That jolt of anxiety felt smaller. It was as if my nervous system, having already handled the very real shock of the cold water, was less impressed by the abstract threat of an email. By proving to myself that I could withstand discomfort, I had built a buffer against the psychological hits of daily life. The turning point. For weeks, these principles were things I was consciously doing. They were tools I was using. But I knew my brain was truly changing when chaos struck unexpectedly. I got a phone call with some genuinely bad family news, the kind of thing that would have previously sent me into a tailspin of anxiety. The news hit hard, and I felt that familiar lurch in my stomach. But then, something new happened. Or rather, the old thing didn't happen. The spiral of panic never started. Almost automatically, a question popped into my head, calm and clear. What is in my control right now? My family's health wasn't in my control. The past wasn't. But my own reaction was. My ability to support them was. My next action was. Then, the second principle kicked in. This awful situation was an opportunity to be brave for my family, to offer calm instead of more chaos. In that moment, I even felt a strange, fleeting sense of gratitude, not for the news, but for the fact that I was here, able to help, with a family to love. It all happened automatically. The obstacle had become the way. That was the moment I knew Stoicism wasn't just something I was studying, it was becoming the new operating system for my mind. Conclusion. This journey is far from over, but the change is already profound. The promise of Stoicism isn't a life free from pain or problems. That's impossible. The promise is a life where you are no longer a slave to those things. The dichotomy of control gives you internal freedom by focusing your energy where it matters. Reframing obstacles turns every setback into a stepping stone. Memento Mori and negative visualization fill your present with gratitude. And voluntary discomfort builds an unshakable confidence in your own strength. These aren't quick fixes. They take daily practice, like an athlete training their body. But the tools are here, tested for 0 years, and they are more necessary now than ever. You have the power to forge a mindset of resilience, clarity, and deep-seated peace. You have the power to unlock a mind so powerful it can truly change your life. My journey is an ongoing experiment, and I want you to be a part of it. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video, where I'll break down 5 specific daily Stoic exercises you can start using right away. And now, I want to hear from you. Comment below with one practice you're inspired to try this week. Let's build a community of modern practitioners, sharing our challenges and our progress. And finally, if you know someone who is struggling with the stress of modern life, please share this video with them. You might just give them the key they've been looking for.